In the frenetic hustle of modern existence, it's alarmingly easy to find oneself caught in the inexorable tide of time, swept along without pause or reflection. Each passing moment, a precious gem in the tapestry of existence, often slips through our fingers unnoticed, squandered in pursuit of ephemeral distractions and trivialities. But amidst the ceaseless cacophony of life, there exists a profound imperative, the art of valuing every moment. Join us on a transformative journey as we unravel the timeless wisdom of seizing the present with unwavering clarity and purpose. The illusion of endless time in the vast expanse of eternity. The span of human life appears as but a fleeting whisper, a mere ephemeral interlude in the grand symphony of existence. Yet paradoxically, we often delude ourselves into believing in the illusion of endless time, squandering our days in pursuit of distant dreams and deferred aspirations. For this is precisely the risk to which modern man is exposed. He may wake up one day and realize he has lost half of his life. Psychopharmaceuticals have become one of the most common forms of treatment for anxiety and depression disorders. However, these medications are not very effective in curing people, and often become mere crutches for psychological conflicts throughout life. Fortunately, there are alternative ways to treat anxiety and depression, and in this video we will turn to Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychiatrists in history. For psychological advice, first of all, please click the like button just below the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing. With a new video, you will be notified. Society still firmly clings to the notion that anxiety disorders originate from changes within the brain. Unfortunately, many common doctors still hold on to this doctrine to the detriment of their patients, who are being produced in droves by our era. Most of these patients have been convinced by medical dogma that their illness is of a physical nature. But Jung believed that most cases of anxiety and depression are not the result of a defective brain, but of a defective way of life. Therefore, the first step in Jung's treatment method was not to prescribe medication, but to provide a dose of psychological understanding of what to expect from life and understanding of what needs to change. Regarding the above, Jung pointed out that many people believe life should be easy, that suffering should be reduced, and that difficulty should be avoided. However, Jung was candid with his patients, telling them that life is not easy, that comfort and peace are not our natural state. Ultimately, it is highly unlikely that there exists any therapy that rids us of all difficulties. Humans need challenges, they are necessary for health. Accepting that difficulties are inevitable and that nothing valuable comes easily puts us on solid ground of reality. From there we can change, because when we accept that life is tough, we also realize that only through a strengthened character do we have a chance to live a good life. On the other hand, if we remain trapped in the illusion that life should be easy, we will have less motivation to overcome a weak character. Erroneously, we will expect that if we simply give time, life will become easier. Jung described life as a battlefield. It always has been and always will. If it were not so, existence would come to an end. Another aspect of Jung's psychological understanding that he considered crucial for his patients was to understand that our problems exist in the present, and that current problems are not solved by digging into our past. Many people like to believe that only when they discover why they are the way they are can they move forward in life. However, Jung believed that an excessive focus on the past was simply an evasion tactic used to avoid the difficult task of facing what needs to be done now. People should know that not only neurotics, but everyone naturally prefers never to seek the causes of any inconvenience within themselves, but to push them as far away as possible in space and time. Otherwise, there is a risk of having to make a change for the better. Compared to this repugnant risk, it seems infinitely more advantageous to the individual to assume, even if the blame is undeniably one's own, that it somehow arose of its own accord in early childhood. The first condition of any comprehensive psychological method is that Consciousness confronts its shadow. The shadow is the term Jung uses to refer to the elements of our character that we deny and force into the unconscious due to shame, insecurity, or censorship. In other words, it's the side of our personality that we want to hide from others and from ourselves. There is no doubt that man is generally less good than he imagines or desires to be. We all have a shadow, and the less it is incorporated into the conscious life of the individual, the darker and denser it becomes. Jung believed that confronting the shadow was crucial in the process of personal change for several reasons. Firstly, we do ourselves no favors by denying the lower parts of our personality. The control of how and when these traits emerge is essential. On the other hand, if we recognize a character flaw, we can learn to control its expression and thus minimize the harm it causes in our lives. As Jung explains, anything conscious can be corrected, but anything that escapes the unconscious is beyond the reach of correction, and with its undisturbed growth is subject to increasing degeneration. Fortunately, nature ensures that unconscious contents break into consciousness sooner or later and create the necessary confusion. However, the shadow is not composed only of probabilities. Some of its elements are forces we suppressed in our youth because our companions, family members, or society at large gave us the false impression that these traits would be inappropriate. Some people, for example, repress the ability to express anger or the ability to defend oneself. Another benefit of bringing the shadow into the light of consciousness is that we gain access to character traits that promote life. As Jung writes, the shadow is simply something inferior, primitive, maladapted, and awkward, not entirely bad. It even contains qualities that would somehow vitalize and beautify human existence. However, convention is to become aware of the shadows and observe the weaknesses, defects, and insecurities of those close to us. This is not only because we suppress similar character traits, but also because we project elements of our shadow onto others. By paying attention to which character traits of our friends and family bother us, we can also catch a glimpse of our own shadow. Another way to bring the shadow into consciousness is to reflect on the motives behind our actions, especially actions of which we are ashamed, and to be open to self-criticism when necessary, because, as Jung points out, often the only thing preventing us from seeing our shadow is the ability to be honest with ourselves, along with increased awareness of the shadow. Another fundamental aspect of Jung's treatment method was to help his patients find meaning in their lives. Jung believed that when someone is stuck in deep depression or consumed by an anxiety disorder, finding an important role in the drama of life is essential. The control of how and when these traits emerge is essential. On the other hand, if we recognize a character flaw, we can learn to control its expression and thus minimize the harm it causes in our lives. As Jung explains, anything conscious can be corrected, but anything that escapes the unconscious is beyond the reach of correction, and with its undisturbed growth is subject to increasing degeneration. Fortunately, nature ensures that unconscious contents break into consciousness sooner or later and create the necessary confusion. However, the shadow is not composed only of probabilities. Some of its elements are forces we suppressed in our youth because our companions, family members, or society at large gave us the false impression that these traits would be inappropriate. Some people, for example, repress the ability to express anger or the ability to defend oneself. Another benefit of bringing the shadow into the light of consciousness is that we gain access to character traits that promote life. As Jung writes, the shadow is simply something inferior, primitive, maladapted, and awkward, not entirely bad. It even contains qualities that would somehow vitalize and beautify human existence. However, convention is to become aware of the shadows and observe the weaknesses, defects, and insecurities of those close to us. This is not only because we suppress similar character traits, but also because we project elements of our shadow onto others. By paying attention to which character traits of our friends and family bother us, we can also catch a glimpse of our own shadow. Another way to bring the shadow into consciousness is to reflect on the motives behind our actions, especially actions of which we are ashamed and to be open to self-criticism when necessary, because as Jung points out, often the only thing preventing us from seeing our shadow is the ability to be honest with ourselves, along with increased awareness of the shadow. Another fundamental aspect of Jung's treatment method was to help his patients find meaning in their lives. Jung believed that when someone is stuck in deep depression or consumed by an anxiety disorder, finding an important role in the drama of life is essential. To understand what was said, we can turn to an encounter Jung had with the chief of a Pueblo tribe in the first half of the 20th century. Jung was discussing the traditions of his tribe when the chief made the following comment: "Yes, we are a small tribe, and these Americans want to interfere in our religion. They shouldn't do that, because we are children of the Father's Son." He pointed to the sun and continued, "This is our Father. We must help him rise above the horizon every day. And we don't do this just for ourselves, we do it for America, we do it for the whole world." Jung understood that for many in the modern age this statement would seem crazy and antiquated. However, as he points out, the members of this tribe did not suffer as we do. They were not infected by neuroses, anxiety disorders, or depression. They didn't fill themselves with pills every day, and they were not weakened by addictions. On the contrary, this tribe was composed of highly functional individuals who served by fulfilling their duty as actors in the divine drama of life. Their lives were imbued with meaning and purpose, or as Jung wrote, these people don't have problems, they have their everyday life, their symbolic life. They rise in the morning with a sense of their great and divine responsibility. They are the children of the Son, the Father, and their daily duties to help them Father rise above the horizon, not just for themselves, but for the whole world. We should see these people. They have a natural and complete dignity. He contrasts this way of life with that of a Western woman. He met this lady, as Jung points out, was a compulsive traveler, always running from one place to another, always seeking but never truly finding what she was looking for. I was astonished when I looked into her eyes, the eyes of a pursued and cornered animal, always searching, hoping to find something. She is possessed. And why she is possessed? Because she is not living a life that has meaning. Hers is a grotesquely banal life without purpose. If she were to die today, nothing happened, nothing was lost, because she was nothing. This compulsive search infects many people in the Western world. Some run from one fate to another, others chase romantic partners, others are compulsive seekers of money, prestige, recognition. But whatever external form it takes, the underlying motivation is the same. The seeker is trying to escape the banality of their existence. They seek to fill the void, the emptiness that comes from living a life without meaning. However, as Jung explains, this void cannot be filled with things, not even experiences. What fills this void is knowing that we are living in a way that matters. Or as he writes in relation to the woman I met, if she could say, "I am a daughter of the moon, and every night I must help the moon, my mother, rise above the horizon, her existence would be completely different. Then she would live, then her life would have meaning in its entire continuity for all of humanity." This brings peace when people feel they are living as actors in the divine drama. That is the only thing that gives meaning to human life. Everything else is banal and disposable. A career, child rearing, all of this can be compared to a single thing. Does your life have meaning? He is not suggesting that everyone should adopt the mythology of the Pueblos. Instead, his point is that many people suffer because their lives lack meaning. The task for those who wish to free themselves from anxiety or depression is to discover this meaning. We must find a way to justify our existence, so that, like the Pueblos, we can believe that our life has meaning. For some, this can be achieved through religion. For others, by contributing meaningfully to values such as justice, freedom, or community. Others may find it through creative acts. However, it is up to us, and us alone, to discover how we can play a meaningful role in the divine drama of life. For the few who achieve this task, a full life will define their future. For the many who fail, years or decades of senseless suffering and compulsive. Thank you all for joining us on this journey into History of Mind channel. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Until next time, stay stoic, stay mindful, and stay true to yourselves. Take care.